Aloha and welcome to Aquarian Radio at aquarianradio.com. This is an episode of Enki Speaks on the Aquarian Radio Network. I am your host, Janet Carroll Lesson, with my co-host, anthropologist Dr. Sasha Lesson. Our program is called, the series is called, The Anunnaki Us, 30 chapters of our history from 4.5 billion years ago to 311 BCE. Today we are focused on Chapter 15. Enki mentored Adapa. Anu ordered Adapa to Nibiru, where Anu nixed Adapa's immortality. And now here we have our co-host, Dr. Sasha Lesson.
One of Nibiru's approaches upset Earth's climate and ruined the new crops. Earthlings adapted, it says, and foraged afar, but they made less food for the Anunnaki overlords. Commander Enlil prodded Enki, make more Earthlings, make them smart enough to farm and herd better. Enki decided to raise Earthling intelligence then, and at the same time enjoy himself.
In his African reserve, Enki in the marshlands looked about. With him was Ismud, his vizier, whose secrets he kept. On the river's bank, frolicking Earthlings, he noticed two females. Among them were wild with beauty, firm were their breasts. Their sight the phallus of Enki caused to water, a burning desire he had. A young one to him Enki called, a tree fruit she offered him. Enki bent down, the young one he embraced, on her lips he kissed her. Sweet were her lips, firm with ripeness were her breasts. Into her womb she took the holy semen. By the semen of the Enki she was impregnated. Enki then coupled with the second young Earthling. One of the girls bore a boy named Adapa, and the other a girl named Titi. Enki kept his fatherhood secret. Enki's wife Damkina to Titi took a liking. All manner of crafts was she teaching.
To Adapa, Enki teaching gave. How to keep records, he was him instructing. Enki boasted, a civilized man, Adapa, I have brought forth. A new kind of Earthling from my seed has been created in my image and after my likeness. From seed, they from food will grow. From ewes, they will shepherd. Yes, Anunnaki and Earthlings henceforth shall be satiated. Enki schooled his, albeit clandestine son, Adapa. He had Adapa he taught Adapa, and then he had Adapa teach his own descendants. All these enhanced Earthlings, all coming from Adapa. He taught him how to run farms, herds, estates, and also how to run the less enhanced Earthlings, the Adamites. So Enki brought more Earthlings from Africa to Sumer for Adapa to train and for the expedition bosses' homes and facilities as workers. Now Adapa trained and oversaw the workers that the Anunnaki brought from Africa to work their bases in Iraq. He watched over bakers, water system workers, and fishermen, and made sure they supplied the Anunnaki and fed themselves. Adapa kept stats. He was in charge of the offerings to Enki.
Enki told him Nibirans ate the bread of life and drank the water of life to live hundreds of thousands of years. Without those substances, Enki told Adapa, he'd likely die in 1,000 years or so. So Adapa, of course, begged Enki for the bread and water for everlasting life. Would he let King Anu give him immortality? Anu, in the meantime, heard of the genius Adapa. Enlil had reported his spies saw Adapa pilot a plane north in the Persian Gulf against prevailing, Winds, okay. Anu let Enki's sons Nigashita and Dumuzi, but not Marduk, his potential rival for Rohan Nibiru, rocket with Adapa to Nibiru.
On Nibiru, Nigashita gave Anu a tablet from Enki. The tablet asked Anu to deny Adapa the food or the elixir, the bread of life, monatomic gold, or the water of life, that would lengthen the lives of Adapa and his descendants. Ningishita then took Adapa. He died. He wasn't going to be immortal, so Ningishita took him back. His duty was to breed and supervise the earthlings.
Chapter 16. Cain killed Abel.
Ningishita flew to earth with Adapa and with grain seeds. Ningishita would teach Abel animal care so he could help Dumuzi when Dumuzi returned to earth. However, when Dumuzi did return, Marduk preempted Abel and the animal project. This would be something for the Enkyites, not for the Enlilites as far as Marduk was concerned. But Enlil had Ninurta tutor Cain, as he was called in those days, to raise the grain that Ningishita brought. The Enlilites, not the Enkyites, would run farming on this planet Earth. Ninurta taught Cain. Marduk taught Abel. At the celebration for firsts, Cain offered first grain. Abel showed Enlil and Enki first lambs. Enki lauded Abel's lambs for wool and meat, but said nothing about Cain's grains at all. And by the lack of Enki's blessing, greatly was Cain aggrieved. The twins quarreled an entire winter. They argued whether Cain's grains and fish-filled water canals or Abel's meat and wool gave the most. In Sumer, when Abel's meadows dried up and the pastures shrunk, he drove his flocks from the furrows and canals to drink. By this Cain was angered, and the twins fought with fists till Cain bludgeoned Abel with a stone, and then sat and sobbed.
Enki took Cain to Eridu, where the senior royals, the 7 who judge, met to decide Cain's fate. The Enlilites in the meeting, Enlil, Ninki, Ninurta, Nanar, and Marduk, wanted Cain killed. Marduk was an Enlilite, honey. So the royals in the meeting, the gods.
What?
Marduk at first agreed Cain should die for killing Abel, the expedition's animal breeder designate. But Enki, Marduk's father, said he begat Cain's father, Adapa.
Wait, I didn't understand what you were saying.
I said that you said that these were all Enlilites, but Marduk is not an Enlilite. The Enlilites in the meeting.
He just agreed. Marduk just wanted him at first. He wanted him killed too. I see.
Okay, that's all.
He said, and then his dad talked him out of that.
Okay, so then Cain must live, said Enki, to breed superior earthlings to work field pastures and mines. If Cain too shall be extinguished, satiation of food supplies to an end would come. Mutinies would then be repeated. The 7 ruled eastward to a land of wandering. For his evil deed Cain must depart. Cain and his generations shall distinguished be. By Ningishita was the life essence genotype of Cain altered. His face a beard could not grow. The beardless Indians of the Western Hemisphere, we'll see, descended from Cain. With his sister Awan as spouse, Cain from the Eden departed. They wandered in the wilderness to the east. Cain wandered until Adapa, his father, lay dying. Ninurta searched for and found, and in his plane took Cain back to Adapa in the Eden. The eyesight of Adapa having failed for recognition of his sons' faces, he touched. The face of Cain was beardless. Adapa told Cain, "For your sin of your birthright you are deprived, but of your seed 7 nations will come. In a realm set apart, the Western Hemisphere, i.e., their one group of the indigenous Amerinds, they shall thrive. Distant lands they shall inhabit. But having your brother with a stone killed by a stone will be your end."
Ninurta returned Cain to the wilds of east of Eden. There Cain begat sons and daughters. Ninurta quotes, "For them a city built, and as he was building, by a falling stone was Cain killed." Ninurta may actually have killed Cain. Cain's survivors planted grain. They founded and ruled the city of Nud. Cain's successors for the next 4 generations all murdered their fathers, and for the rest of 3 generations after that, each ruler of Nud killed his parents and married his sister, then ruled. Violent bunch. Cain's son, Enoch, however, succeeded Cain 4 generations later. Enoch married his sisters, Adah and Zillah. Adah's first son, Jabal, and the sublineage that Jabal begat, lived in tents and herded cattle. His second son, Jubal, begat lyre and flute players. Enoch's other wife, Zillah, bore Tubal-Cain, a smith and an artificer of gold and copper, and also iron. After she bore Cain and Abel, Titi, going back to the other lineage, that Adam, the Adapa and Titi made, bore 30 sons and daughters. Among them, the Anunnaki distributed these children, because these were the line from Enki, and taught them to write, to do math, to do astronomy. They taught them to cultivate crops, how to husband animals, how to dig wells. They taught these special Adapite kids to make oils, euphoric intoxicants from the Ibu fruits, probably grapes, beer from barley. And the Adapites learned from the Anunnaki how to build furnaces and kilns, how to smelt and refine bitumens, how to play harp and flute. Nanar made some of Adapa's descendants priests, and the priests led rituals for the earthlings and taught them to support, obey, and worship Nanar and the other Anunnaki as gods. Enki, however, taught advanced astronomy to one of his own descendants, a hybrid Anunnaki Adapite named Urkime. Marduk rocketed Urkime to the moon and to Mars base, and then to the spaceport in Sipar, and gave him the job of overseeing the Earthlings there for Utu.
And that's been another episode of Enki Speaks. And let's see, that's all for Chapter 16. Next chapter, in Chapter 17, we will learn how the astronauts overpowered a rock. And our websites are enkispeaks.com, ENKISPEAKS.com. And we have another website, aquarianradio.com. And there's another sister site called extraterrestrialcontact.com that you might want to check out. Our books are Anunnaki, Gods No More, and Anunnaki, Legacy of the Gods. And I have a new book out called Dance of the Souls. Book 1 is Pierce the Veil. It's kind of an autobiographical story. So thank you. Much love, aloha, and blessings from Janet Kira Lesson and
Dr. Sasha Lesson. Aloha.
Broadcasting live from Maui, Hawaii. Aloha.